Revisiting my dreams with the king.
Yo, good people, welcome to another episode of The Ride, a journey towards your dreams. I am your host, Johnny King III, aka Still Chill Leroy, and this is the Revisit Your Dreams podcast show, exclusively on the Revisit Your Dreams channel right here at youtube.com. Like always, we have a very special guest and a very special episode to present to you today. But as always, we want to remind you of what we're doing here at Revisit Your Dreams. Here at Revisit Your Dreams, we provide inspiration, motivation, encouragement. We explore real life stories of trial, error, and success, and maybe even provide a few laughs along the way. This is season 4 of the show titled Artisans. This season, we are celebrating, honoring, highlighting, and featuring artists and creatives who are on the journey for greatness in their professions. My very special guest today is an accomplished actor, an award-winning filmmaker, a writer, director, and producer of film, an acclaimed poet and spoken word artist whose work centers on community history, cultural preservation, and social justice. He is a 2023 graduate of Lipscomb University, where he earned his master's degree in fine arts with a concentration in film and creative media. He's a coveted speaker, MC, host, panel session leader. He is a spoken word creative. He has released multiple projects, including the Diallo Experience and Love Revolution. He's a Stellar Award nominee, amongst many other honors, including a 2022 Best Producer Award for his film Fragility at the International Black and Diversity Film Festival in Toronto. He has appeared on television, in films, music videos, and on stages with celebrated artists all across the country. He is a longtime resident of Nashville, currently residing in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. Please welcome to the show, making his first appearance to The Ride, a man blessed with a variety of special gifts and talents, our very special guest, Michael Diallo McLendon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate this opportunity to converse with you, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. It made me chuckle a little bit because I've been on this planet a minute, so God has given me the opportunity to participate in quite a few creative endeavors, and I've enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, man, we're gonna take a ride a little further into those opportunities. I know I could have kept reading and kept, the list could go on and on and on. When I was doing the research on you, I'm like, man, this dude has accomplished quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, brother. I like to start off each episode by reminding the audience or letting the audience know how I know each guest. Up until recently, every guest that I interviewed was somebody who I personally knew, somebody who I had their phone number in my phone or had their email address in my contacts. So I was able to reach out to them, say, hey, invite them onto the show. Recently, I've been expanding my networks and inviting people on that I have not yet met personally. So this is my first opportunity to have a face-to-face conversation with Mr. McLendon. So I'm looking forward to this, and I hope you guys stay tuned because it's going to be a great episode. We met through. I'll tell you how I came to know him. If you've been watching the show, you've seen me interview Just One Thomas. You've seen me interview Monica Hyde Collins. Both of those individuals I know and are related or associated with Michael Diallo McLendon. He also knows them as well. So it's part of a network that's being established, and it's showing the power of using your network, expanding upon your network, and not being afraid to reach out to them, even if you haven't personally met them yet. So Michael's looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. We're ready to go. Michael, off top, you've done so much in your career and you don't seem to be slowing down. I read a short list of accolades to introduce you, but your credentials in the industry are truly extensive. But I want to start at the part where you decided to revisit your dreams and go back to school at an older age to earn your master's degree in film and media. What was the moment in your life or career that made you decide to begin taking your creative skills and abilities more seriously and go to try to earn that master's degree?
Wow, that's a big question because it was the pandemic was going on. And at the beginning of the pandemic, my father passed. That's like March of 2020. My mother, subsequently, a few years later, she passed as well. But I'm from a small town in Mississippi, and my father wasn't really hearing you gonna make a living as an artist. So that's why most of my life I've kind of held certain type of jobs that I knew I could make a lot of, pretty good money at, and then I kind of been an artist on the side, and I've had kind of had this split personality as a professional. And so after he passed, I actually went to therapy and talked to a therapist about a lot of that and came out of it with, I'm gonna go ahead and go to film school. This is what I love. I've been acting, and I really, to be honest with you, believe I felt like I could do it at that time because before that, I felt like I was letting my pop down. If I really embraced like just doing film, because I come from such a traditional, hard nosed, kind of family environment. Like my father, even though he taught school, we put up chain link fences after we got out of school. We had hogs, and we put, we worked in the garden. We did a lot of things. So even though he enjoyed movies and he enjoyed music, nowhere in his life did he see anybody personally that was making a living doing that. And he wanted to make sure that when he left this earth, his son could make a living and support himself. And he honestly couldn't visualize that happening through film. And so it wasn't until like really that he passed that I really said to myself, okay, I'm gonna really take a shot. I was already doing it, but I hadn't prioritized it to the point where I was in film school. That's the basic answer. That's more to it than that, but that's the basic answer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for taking us through that journey. And I know, rest in peace, to your pops, man. And I know that he raised a great man. When a man cares enough about his son to say, "Hey, I'm the least I could do is show you what I know,"
That's right.
and hopefully, when I'm no longer here, you'll have something to sustain you. And that's pretty much what it sounds like he was doing. But, it also shows that, we are all our own individuals. And in your heart, you were like, yeah, but I like this and I like that too. And I might not be able to do it here, but one day I'm gonna do it. And taking the opportunity, again, it's not like it was an advantage that your father passed, but it posed an opportunity for you to look at life differently and make some different decisions going forward. And I think that's great. I think that's a great testament, to viewers. If you're out there watching, and sometimes, there's a moment in your life where you need to pivot and make a decision for yourself that could change the trajectory of your life, because it's something you want to do going forward, as opposed to something you were used to doing or what everyone else is doing. So I appreciate their response to that question. Um, since you graduated with a high level degree in this discipline, give us an idea of what your career was like before you earned that degree, and what your career has been like since you earned that degree.
Sure. So before earning the degree, I had quite a few jobs. I came out of school with my master's at 23, and just through prayer, I knew that my brother Lewis, who I grew up with, and my sister Michelle, I knew that my brother Lewis, one of us was going to be getting married real soon. So I told Lewis wherever he got in law school, because that's where he was headed, that I was going to move there. So that happened to be Knoxville. He went to UT Law School. So my first job out of grad school was teaching at Knoxville College, which is an HBCU there. So after teaching at Knoxville College, I eventually taught at my alma mater, Tougaloo College in Mississippi, uh, ran a youth program at Talladega College, segued over to Tennessee State University, and worked in PR until I kind of came to Atlanta most recently. That's what I've been doing professionally. Now, creatively, professionally, but not in academia. Uh, when I was in Jackson teaching at Tougaloo College, a couple of friends and I started a poetry night. Actually, one of the three gentlemen was Derek Johnson, who's the National NAACP president. We were all at Tougaloo as students together. And when I moved back to Jackson, he and Marcus Uganda White, another friend, we all got together for breakfast and they asked me to be a part of something they were already envisioning. And that was doing something called Southern Vibes. That's what it came to be known as. So for about 3 years, we kind of played a pretty nice role in the revival of doing spoken word in Jackson, Mississippi. When I moved over to Talladega to teach there, then it became a little more musical. I started a band called Positive Vibration with a lot of students. We would go to nursing homes. It's a small town, so we go to nursing home, schools. Sometimes we travel back to Mississippi and we performed a lot of the songs I was writing and we mixed poetry into that, some of my spoken word, and we had a great time doing that. Wasn't doing a lot of acting though, because in those environments, every once in a while there was an opportunity. However, when I got to Nashville, that's where the market was larger. So I got a chance to do more theater, some music videos, some independent films, got an agent, got a chance to do some films outside of Nashville while I was living there and some commercials, things of that nature. And then eventually came here. After getting that degree, it's been more concrete for me in terms of understanding how the business works. Prior to that, it was like I was getting my training while doing a play. I was, working with that director, making sure I knew as much as I could in a movie, whatever I could glean on set. But I didn't realize the inner workings of the industry and how I needed to be consistently training as an actor. I'm in weekly classes now. Uh, I didn't realize the team, how to assemble a team, what role do these different people play? And while I have some friends who might be able to, for the most part, shoot a film, just them and maybe one other person, I understand that to get the highest quality, every person on that crew is necessary to do something so people can be at their creative and technical best. So that's helped me to value what it means to be on set and the role that each person plays, but also the time that I need as an artist before I'm on set or before I'm on stage, and what it means to kind of like just be in the back and centering myself because I'm one player on a team that's showing up in order to hopefully make a big impact on whoever witnesses what's being created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like prior to you earning that degree, you were kind of going through the cycle of just figuring out how to exist as an actor, how to exist in this industry. And after earning that degree, you had a better, more well-rounded understanding of how all of the pieces of the puzzle are put together, how all the players, relate to one another to help a whole project come together cohesively. So, right, is that what it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like your
I'm saying,
explanation is?
yeah, I'm saying that, and I'm saying that when it comes to one of my emphases was script writing. So prior to that, I had a couple of books, and I was kind of figuring out how to put this thing together. But going through this process, and this has always been helpful for me, I love having mentors, and I simply see school as a time to be immersed with a number of mentors, spending time with them, and them being focused on helping to transfer certain knowledge, skills, experiences, strategies to you. And so I started really understanding how scripts are laid out. What are some books I should read? What are some movies I can watch to kind of see some of these similarities so that I could then, in many ways, translate these shorter stories I've been getting from the Lord through spoken word into 60 to 90-minute scripts or sometimes 20 or 30 because that spoken word is a power pellet. It's getting it all in there in 2, 3, 5 minutes. A film is a lot longer. It's a different form. And I was doing my best to get into that form, but it kind of really took me immersing myself for me to understand how it works and how to kind of lay those things out in a way where those stories can be told effectively over a longer period of time and still keep an audience's attention.
Man, it seems like you definitely have done that and learned to almost master that ability. I took time to watch some of the short films that you produced, and we're getting ready to talk about one of them right here shortly, and I'll let you expand upon that shortly. But I'll just go ahead straight into the question because I'll mess up the question if I keep responding. In 2022, uh, as you mentioned earlier, your short film Fragility earned a Best Producer award. You are applauded by myself and the Ride family. That's great. For someone to take their art, put it into some type of contest, and I know that the contest is bigger than just some type of contest, but just for general purposes, take their art, expose it to the world, and let them judge it against other people's art. And you come out on top. That's amazing. I watched the 15-minute short film, and at the end of it, I was disappointed that it was over. It was very well written, very well directed and produced, high quality short film.
I feel like y'all aren't giving Robert a chance because he's white.
I'll admit, I always wanted you to marry a good Haitian man. But maybe it wasn't in the Lord's plan. It's just all happening so quickly.
I mean, but Mom, we've been talking for almost 6 months online.
And now you're engaged.
Even down to the music and the theatrical backdrop. I think it was great. What has this moment of recognition meant to you? The moment when you earned that Best Producer award. You talked about before you earned a degree, you were trying to put all the pieces together. After you earned a degree, you had a better understanding of how to turn your spoken word into actual film art. What does that mean to you, having earned that Best Producer award at the festival in Toronto, Canada?
Thank you for first of all for just kind of bringing the film up and for taking the time to watch it. And that was at the kind of still I was in film school. I was collaborating, so there's this artistic community, and what it meant to me was the affirmation that working as a team means that those things that I try to do individually can fly because I got a team of great people. With Fragility and with another short that I did while I was in Nashville, Justin Woodland, who to me is a phenomenal cinematographer and editor. He shot it, and then Candace Amnira Lafayette directed. So what I was able to do was write these films, produce them. I made some recommendations for my casting, but I was able to, because I knew their creativity, trust them in the process, guide them. Like if there was a location we needed here, or I had certain actor recommendations or certain boundaries I didn't want them to go outside of or stay in. I kind of had a few Zoom meetings with them, and we talked through things. So the first one was shot during the pandemic. And then I could kind of play my role at a periphery of their maximum creativity, and then kind of shoot in with like when there was an edit and kind of give some feedback and things of this nature. And to see the film celebrated, it meant a lot for me, not only because this is what I'm loving and learning, but also because the two people I mentioned are younger than me and they've been working the craft, but this is one of the first awards too on that level that they had received. So I saw it not only as me creating an opportunity for my own career, but playing a role in uplifting community within the arts, because ultimately that's what I want to do. I'm writing films and not just acting, but because I believe that by creating films, there's an opportunity then for someone who's exceptional at audio, someone who's an exceptional cinematographer, exceptional actors, all of these people who are, working grip, they can be employed doing what they love, and we as a team can create something that's great, as opposed to me writing it, trying to shoot it, trying to edit it, trying to do so much, which I've done in different ways. And I recognize that first through spoken word, that when I employ a team, it just goes to another level. So that's what it meant.
That's high level thinking. And congratulations again, but that's very high level thinking for you to be so in tune with the project, to have, to say, I need, not only do I need, I want to bring people on my team so I don't have, one, the burden of doing it all alone, but two, the limitations of just what's in my head, because I know how to write the story. I can tell the story, but there's other people out there that might be a little bit better at, using that camera, at setting that lighting, at the final edit, at making sure that the actors and actresses know exactly where they're supposed to be placed. Like, you have the vision, you will lay the vision out, and you employ people, bring other people aboard. I think that's amazing because it shows the power of collaboration, the power of teamwork, and that you're not singularly focused on growth. You're like, I know that I want to grow, but in order for me to grow, I need to surround myself with people that can help me grow to the to my maximum capacity. And I think that's amazing. There's not enough people in the world, in your industry, in this type of industry, that think that way. Most people want all of it for themselves. So, the power of saying, I want to establish something so that not only can I accomplish my goals, but I want to be able to help other people pursue their dreams. That's the whole purpose of this channel. That's why I started Revisit Your Dreams. I want to be able to, one, inspire people, but I bring people on here that I'm inspired by. And I know that if I'm inspired by them, other people viewing might be inspired. And so it's kind of a full circle. Like, I want to expose what you do, but I want everybody else to see it and be inspired by it so they can pursue their dreams more wholeheartedly. But I think that's amazing, Michael. Let's talk about your most recent work, Preserving Our Voices. As a social justice documentary, what did you learn in the direction of this project about intersecting all of your skills and talents into one cohesive and socially impactful production?
Whew, that's a good one. That's a great question, because what I learned was that what God's been showing me is real. And that is that the true highest usage of all this equipment is, yeah, it's great to use it to do movies and to record different things, whatever that might be. But our elders and the people who are making a difference in our community, who, like my parents, who are no longer with us, we need to preserve their voices. And when we do that, there's so much intrinsic benefit from that everything else is overflow. I was attempting to do something similar before I left Nashville, but I was working for an environmental justice organization here, and a young lady was in the hall trying to deliver some food, and she didn't know what it taken. And when I showed her, I walked into this arts program office. I knew where they were, but I had not gone in. They say, "Oh, we're an arts organization. We have grants." No, I said, "Hey, I'm an artist." And they said, "Well, we got one that's due Monday." This was Friday. And so I worked over the weekend, put something together. And next thing I know, they're saying, "You've been awarded this grant to preserve the voices of our elders." And what I learned was there's so many intersections in their stories, because initially we were looking to do 5 short documentaries, but because all of the people we interviewed who were in South Fulton, they were running along the same lines, telling interconnected stories. We said, let's make this one doc, and then really weave through what they're talking about our community as it relates to the environment and social justice, because it's going to be more powerful that way. And so the 2 of the things that stand out for me is not only their interconnectedness, but that this documentary has the power to push the envelope as it relates to the movement. So when we talk about creating films, although all of them can do that, with preserving our voices, not only are we preserving these elders' voices, we're also talking about those issues in South Fulton that are of detriment to the people who live there, whether that's all of these chemical plants that are close to residential neighborhoods that they're fighting to have moved out, or trying to keep those data centers from being there. There are a lot of issues, and people like Dr. Yomi Naobi, who used to be the director of Eco Action, he went into South Fulton and did a lot of training with people. He talks about something called a precautionary principle, where if we look at a situation where a chemical plant might cause harm to people, even though we can't prove it, which is what the government wants us to do. You got to prove it before we won't do it. He's saying, no, we need to have a precautionary principle. If it looks like it might, let's investigate before we do it, because we value people above a profit. And then there was Naima Gilliard, who was a councilwoman who played a large role in founding the city of South Fulton, which has only been around for 6 or 7 years. She's one of the people we honored. We were able to give each person $500, a plaque, and then feature them. And so there was so many people. There was an artist, Kevin Cole, who we featured, who's traveled the world getting awards, who stutters, but has gotten major awards for his teaching because his art is so transcendent that he moves past this impediment and uses his gift to inspire the world. So just the opportunity to sup with all these people, one, but two, to celebrate them, and then three, to kind of have somewhere where we've kept their voices, so that those born and yet born will be able to experience them in a real way, as opposed to somebody writing a book that's not even from our community and saying this is who Kevin Cole was, this is who Dr. Noble was. No, watch, listen, experience them for yourself, and take from them firsthand, what you can about who they are and what they did.
Man, that's amazing. It sounds like, in that documentary, you put together something that the city of South Fulton will be able to use, in their, archives for centuries, for decades, to help educate, the people of South Fulton about, how this city came about and all those things. I think that's awesome. I also think it's great that, you told a story of there being a grant available, and on Saturday you found out about it. Monday was the deadline. That's the power of like initiative. When you have an opportunity, you got to take advantage of that opportunity. You never know when that opportunity is going to be the one that takes you to that next level. And if you just say, well, if he would have said, I only got 2 days, I'm sure there's plenty of other people that apply for this. Ain't no way they're going to give this to me about this subject matter, so I'm just not going to apply for it. He never know what would not have happened, but instead he was able to, expand his network, meet more people, tell history, make an impact in the city of South Fulton, award those people that he interviewed, acknowledge their impact upon that city. I think this all the way around is a great approach to humanity, approach to storytelling, approach to preserving history, and doing it in such a way that is not selfishly lined. Like, you didn't say, I'm the producer, I'm the writer, I want to go ahead and make this production so I can put my name on it and call it what you're like, no, this ain't about me. I'm just the messenger. You know what I mean? And I think that's great, because there's not enough people who really think along those lines.
Can I say that it was and is a blessing to know each one of those individuals, and I want to piggyback and say the role that Jabbar Harper played in this process is very important to bring
I
up,
was getting ready
because
to, I was getting,
okay, well, let me be quiet. You go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no, 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 no. You don't have to be quiet, but I have a question. I'm gonna go ahead and just ask it and let you
Okay.
talk, because that's exactly where I was going into. Talk about the difference in working with professionals like Jabbar Harper, and how they help you as a producer make your vision become a reality from behind the camera.
Yeah. So Man, this rendezvous with Jabbar has been going on for like 20 years because it wasn't just film. When I moved to Nashville as a spoken word artist, I felt like I was an outlier because being from Mississippi, my spoken word was a little different. Not that everybody from Mississippi is different, it's probably just mine in a way because I believe spoken word artists grow from the page or the stage. Some spoken word artists were rappers and they got a flow and they just kind of just slow it down a little bit and they do spoken word. I grew up writing poetry and then grew into as an actor memorizing that and then dramatically interpreting it. Well, in Nashville, where you got all these universities, probably the biggest city I'd really lived in for a while up to that time, I was a little unsure about how I fit into this community. One of the people I met when I started doing spoken word was D Revolution, another poet in the city. And I asked D, I was like, cause D had CDs out and all this, who's doing your artwork? He said, it's a brother they call Sleep. His Sleep is Jabbar Harper. So I know him as Sleep.
Yeah.
So what Sleep does, what he did with me and what he does with most of his clients when he lived there is he'll hold a meeting to get to know the artist. So then he'll probably do a photo shoot with you and he tailors all of that into like your cover for your CD, the artwork throughout it. And for me and some others, with your website. And so I met Sleep and I met this brother named Q who produced my CD. And if it wasn't for the artwork that Sleep, can I call him Sleep? Is a Jabbar, same person.
Yeah.
I just don't,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think people would have really just wanted because it was spoken word. And even though some people like it, everybody don't listen to spoken word. But when you saw what he did, when people saw what he did in Nashville, they wanted to open it up and see what was going on in the inside. So that's where it started, right? From him giving what I like to call, especially online, digital wings to my spoken word projects. And so then when he moved here, and then I years later came, and he'd been experimenting more with video and growing there outside of just doing the graphics and doing, because he was a rap artist as well. Outside of just doing the graphics and the websites, he started doing video. And so when this opportunity came, I knew I needed to talk to Jabbar because of his sincerity, his eye above all, because we can be sitting in the same room with a camera and just how he captures it is going to keep people's eyes locked. So, cause he's going to see that background. He's going to see colors. So he said to me sometimes when certain things happen, the hair stand up on his arm. When it clicks for him, it clicks for anybody that's looking at it. So I reached out to him, explained about the grant. A lot of the grants going towards these artists, but what was left over, if you're in agreement, we'll split that and we'll move forward with this project. And he's always been on board too. That's why I say, beyond the professional collaboration is a great friend. And so we went and we did these interviews. And again, he just knows how to find that angle. He got his drone and he knows when to get that and how to incorporate that footage. And so collaborating with him allowed me to be able to, work on these questions, work on setting up these interviews, getting to know these people, asking questions a certain kind of way, just kind of organizing, doing a lot of this administrative stuff that would have, for me, kind of been a tax that would have cost the film creatively. And then it wouldn't have been what it could have been, not only because I would have been trying to do it all, but two, because that's what sleep does. It's something I've learned a lot about and I can do it, but the way it pops when he does it, no. So working with him has been a joy, because he's a good friend and because I more than trust his creativity, and it's hard to put in the work and to see it through because he challenges me to do more, because even though I'm glad that at this point in my life, because I'm 55, that I have a lot of passion for this. I'm not trying to sit down at all, but still he'll push me to do something I may not think I can do technically, because my mind is on this artistic side, and there's still technical things I need to be able to knock out that sometimes I need a little push to do. And so he'll challenge me in those ways. So I really appreciate that. Working with Jabbar, and in Nashville, after Jabbar left, I was working with Justin, who I mentioned, who did those shorts. Working with people like them, as well as Candace, who directed those films. It's been just a joy. I'll bring up Quinnex Coleman again, the guy who produced the music for my spoken word projects. He took that to a next level in terms of what people listen to. Before that, I write songs, I play keys a little bit, do a little acoustic with the guitar, but it's nothing like it. It became when Q pulled together his musicians and got in there and tweaked this and did that, and then threw it there. I was like, whoa. It's just a whole nother level, not only of celebration because of what has emerged through the synergy, but because now it's not me and mine, it's us and ours. And it flies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's so dope. I don't know Jabbar as Sleep, but I've heard him as Sleep. I heard Just One talk about him as Sleep many times. But I only know him as Jabbar Harper, so I wouldn't call him Sleep until I built that relationship up with him. But I think that's amazing. When you started talking, it made me started thinking, because you started talking about the album cover for your spoken word project. And I want to talk about the Diallo experience. If I'm not mistaken, does your album cover Diallo experience kind of look like the backdrop that's behind you?
A little bit. It kind of. So what happens is you got something like this behind me, and then I'm turned to the side with a cap on. So there are
Yeah,
some
man.
similarities. Yeah.
The reason why I asked that, the vision you just described, that backdrop and turned to the side with the hat, I had your CD, man. I had your CD, the Diallo experience. I remember, years ago, I think Just One might have gave it to me, because I'm sitting there looking at this backdrop and I'm hearing you tell this story, and exactly what you described came into my head. I was like, I remember a backdrop looking like where he's sitting right now. I remember him turned to the side. I remember he had a hat on, because I was going to ask you before you mentioned you have a hat on. I was like, did you have a hat on in there? I had that CD, man. I had that album. I think Just One might have gave it to me many years ago, man. It's just now coming back to me, but that's dope, man. It's full circle moment.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about Just, man.
Um,
Okay, can I talk about Just for just a quick minute, and then
yeah.
as an artist, not only as a lyricist, but the movie never came out, but we were brothers in the film. And so we got a chance to spar kind of, as actors. So that was one of the joys of our friendship, is just kind of playing brothers. And so now, a lot of times it's unspoken, but we're kind of spar at one another in a similar way, meaning kind of like, you just kind of go at it, in fun, because there's a certain level of respect for the artistry, because you probably know, if you know, I don't know if you met Keno or not, but Keno's another good
Yeah, I know
friend who's
Keno.
just ultimately creative in so many different ways beyond the barber, but you probably heard he's got this song that just blew me
Mm-hmm.
away, where he's got the sound of the Clippers in one of his joints, one of the first CDs I had of Keno's. But they've created a community too, just among themselves, that is reminiscent of the hip hop that was out when we came up, where it would be a crew like Wu-Tang Clan or someone. And so I
Mm-hmm.
commend Just for living out purpose, right? Just continues to create not only the spoken word pieces, I mean, that's the rap, but he just dropped another project, but he also creates community, where he'll have an event, and then he'll introduce other artists within what he does. And so being a part of that community for me, really through Sleep. So, cause I know that acting opportunity that Justin and I had didn't necessarily come through Sleep, but most times I've run into it's been through collaborating, with Jabbar. And so we've all become like friends, and the artistic community itself in Nashville in the early 2000s and the 2010s, it was very close knit. It's growing a lot now, so maybe it's not the same way, but that's the foundation of it. There's a lot of wonderful creatives in Nashville who do things nationally, but they also are part of like a family within the city.
Oh yeah, it's extensive. I met so many people through Just. I had the opportunity to produce a couple of the songs on his most recent album, and so that collaboration was amazing. I met through him through Revis Mitchell.
Yes.
I met Keno through him. Now through you, Monica Hyde, and the list goes on. There's a number of other people that Just has introduced me to, and I've been able to collaborate with. So I agree that that community, that it feels like a Wu-Tang, like a collective
That's
of
right.
people that all of them have a little bit slightly different skills and abilities, but we team up from time to time and make stuff pop, man. I think that's dope.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah, man. Let's see. It's very apparent that you are extremely accomplished. As a fellow dreamer and creative, I know that you always got some projects up your sleeve. So, what's next up for Michael Diallo McLendon? Are there any films or album projects that we can look forward to? Anything that you're currently working on?
Definitely some, I have a few features I've written, and am writing. One I'm writing, a few written, and a couple ideas for other ones. And because I'm in the acting class, I'm currently in this 6-month acting intensive with something called Get Seen, where I have a acting mentor, and I'm courting different agencies here. And then in the acting class with Dwayne Boyd and Premier Actors Network every Tuesday night here. And his advanced acting class. So that keeps me around the creatives, but mostly what I'm looking to do, because I've been working with this environmental justice organization, and I've just segued to working with my brother's law firm as a paralegal, so I can kind of free my mind up with this screenwriting, because I believe, again, that in writing these pieces and then producing them, there's a greater ground to cover in terms of the people that are part of making it happen. And so now doing that with my brother, I'm getting back into the writing posture, because I also believe in Nashville that came a point where I wasn't doing a lot of acting outside of theater. And I realized, okay, I do love acting. Let me when I got here, I was prayerful about it, because no matter what city I'm in, I try to be prayerful about it, because I feel like it's bigger than me. So I want to make sure I'm lined up with what I'm supposed to be doing in that city. So at one point I was doing a lot of acting in Nashville, and then it kind of segued to filmmaking and spoken word. As soon as I got here, because one of my mentors, L. Warren Young, he's here and he's doing a lot of great work. The acting thing started kind of opening up again. The voiceover thing, been doing some voiceover with Delta Vacations, just recorded something last week. But it's really this writing that I'm most passionate about. And so now that I've kind of segued to start working with my brother, my mind is a lot more freed up, so that I can kind of create an environment at home where I can get all of these screenplays out, because there's nothing better for me than to kind of have these ideas juggling around in my head, get up, walk around, get back on the computer, put some more down, and realize I got 15 pages out today. And so now it's a matter of now being in Atlanta, of marrying those processes of writing with the community, where I can continue to produce, write, and from time to time be in it, because I really want to play a detective eventually. Uh, but what I enjoy most is that writing and that producing, seeing that team come together, that project come to life, and seeing some type of impactful, positive message go forth, be that through the documentaries or through the film or the feature,
Yeah,
narratives. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, man. I'm glad that it sounds like you have a strong vision for what it is that you look forward to doing when when you get into the film world. Like, yes, I like to act and I can act. That's enjoyable to me. I'm actually taking classes for it. But you're sounding like you really want to get more into the writing process, more into the production process, to give more people opportunities, while you can, because you can always act in your own writings if you choose to, but just going out for roles and auditioning for roles, and landing those roles, that's one layer of your creativity and your ability. But you creating the film, creating the storyline, and then maybe even acting into it, and then maybe even producing and directing, allows you to use all those skills and abilities. I want to go back to what you mentioned about going to work as a paralegal with your brother, and how that opens up a little bit more time and also puts you back in the kind of story mode. I'm kind of familiar with that. I had an opportunity with a good friend of mine years ago. He owns a injury law firm in Northern California, and he asked, he brought me aboard to work with him, and I was writing demand letters and all these types of documents, and it fueled that creative process. Like, okay, I can. I started writing lyrics again right after that. I started coming up with these type of ideas. I started pursuing my music production. I started pursuing, because it just opened me up to, even though it's a paralegal and it's a technical discipline, you have to be creative in how you put these statements together, because you got to paint a picture. You know what I'm saying? I think that's unique, that we have that similar experience. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
really
Michael, here's a thought provoking. Go ahead.
well. I was just saying, yeah, I'm really excited
Go ahead.
about it. My brother Lewis. I have another brother named Stacy who's in Chicago, and my sister Michelle who lives here. But I'm really excited about it because my brother's like 15 months older than I am. Which when we were growing up, people thought we were twins. And I've always looked up to him. So the other thing for me in terms of working with him at his law firm is, just spending time. His wife also works there. It's called the McLendon Law Group. Is that, I'm spending time with my big brother, and, I remember I told you that I wanted to move to the city because I knew one of us was about to get married, and it was him. I'm still out here, not doing I ain't doing too much in the streets, but I'm still not connected yet with the right queen. So being in an environment now where I go to work and I'm working with my brother and supporting him, it's kind of like when we were kids on some level, right? I mean, yeah, now it's professional work and it's legal, but it's my big brother down in the hall, so we're handling business, but we also cracking a joke here and there. Or I can do something
Oh
for him.
yeah.
He knows me and I know him, and so the even though the other work was good work, the sometimes guard, whether it's high because of the environment in terms of that I may have to put up to be professional around certain people, or that's low because I'm comfortable with these people. It doesn't really even exist at all because that's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
brother. And when it comes to something creative, like he said from the jump, I know sometimes you might have to go do a voiceover, or you may have to do this, that, or the third. So that's cool. It's not like, no, this is your job. What are you talking? Sometimes it can be that when it's a corporate
You
job.
didn't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah.
didn't request it off. We need coverage. You X, Y, all of the things. And I'm familiar with that. Like, when I work with Chad, in his law firm, we're very good friends, still to this day, close friends. We don't, he lives in California. We don't communicate that often, but still very good friends. So, being in that environment in the office, it's a professional environment. But man, we clowning, joking, all kind of all kind of stuff while we getting it done. And he's a comedian, he's a musician, he's a rapper, he does quite a bit. And so we were working together. This before he started doing comedy. We were working together, on his music venture. So yeah, man, we sound like we got a lot of experiences in common. Here's a thought-provoking question for you, Michael. What is your greatest fear?
Ah, now, I know you don't want, it's not good to have silence in the podcast.
It's all good.
Yeah, but it's one of it may be,
It's a thought-provoking question.
yeah, when I was about 20 in undergrad, I woke up and sat up in my bed, and I had this vision of building this school, the multi-educational center for African Americans, mostly featured on helping young black boys, and having different buildings named after people like Paul Robeson and Frederick Douglass, all these different things. And the way it was shown to me though is that it happens through me being an artist, like the acting and all this, and then going out to other people who have been financially successful and artistically, and kind of garnering collectively resources, building one, and then duplicating that model in different places throughout the U.S. and then in other places. And because artistically, you know, it's I've been on this road for a while, so sometimes, you know, the thought of it not happening in my lifetime uh is kind of heavy, right? I mean, I've come to the resolve that, you know, maybe all of it won't, right? But I know I saw the vision, and sometimes visions are lodestars, you know, they're to inspire us. But I still anticipate having at least one of those schools built, and then the plans to build other ones. Uh, and so running that youth program that I mentioned in Talladega, Alabama, like was a preview or a snapshot of kind of being over some type of youth program. But all of these artistic things, they have their own individual value, and I enjoy them, and I see the purposefulness in them, because there's a lot that I'm not going to do because of the way I'm put together, the way God designed me. But I would love to see those schools done and developed, and so sometimes thinking about the fact that on that continuum, sometimes I feel like I'm a long way from that, and the thought of not getting those things done at times can be heavy, and can, you know, if the word is fear, it can be fearful at times.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not glad that you have that fear necessarily, but I'm glad that you answered it in the way that you answered it. I thought that you might answered it somewhat similar. And in the end, basically in a nutshell, what he said is he doesn't want to leave this earth with the regret of not having accomplished what he envisioned in that dream. And that is kind of most people's fear, is the regret of leaving this earth without accomplishing a specific thing that they envision for themselves or for other people. And I just want to encourage you, if you're watching, to start today on revisiting those dreams, those things that you thought about, that like, I would love to do this before I die. I want to see this happen before I leave this earth. Those are the things that you don't want to be on your deathbed thinking about. You know, you want to start the process, at least give some effort toward doing those things, so you know, when you are on your final days, you can be proud of what you did and what legacy you left behind. That's mainly the reason why I asked that question, Michael. I thank you for responding to it in that way. I have another thought-provoking question. In your wildest dreams, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Wow. In my wildest dream, uh, man, it's doing the same stuff, right? Meaning acting, writing, uh, further, you know, acting, writing, putting movies out, attending some award shows, but being on set some, but also having the financial and relational resources to be a blessing to people that come within my circumference, in terms of me understanding issues and being able to support in some kind of way. In Christian terms, like being blessed to be a blessing, right? I want to live in that space where I'm not just blessed, but I'm being a blessing. So sometimes I get a chance to do that on a certain level now, right? Like sometimes it may be connecting to people. Sometimes it might be a financial need. It may be a book somebody needs. Those are things I can do where I am right now. It may be giving a person the opportunity to be in a film, or, hey man, no, this acting class is great, or this community. I want to expand that ultimately with the schools, but also just in terms of like having the resources to start things and do things. One of the blessings I had a chance to be a part of last November was I went to the continent for the first time and went to Nigeria with Eco Action, the organization I was working with, and we were able to help build some boreholes to provide water to some schools, and then provide some food, some technology. Being a part of that team and doing that while I was over there, I got a chance to with the team visit a church and meet again a minister I had met in Nashville who has a church there. Did some spoken word there, and we visited his orphanage. So I want to continue to do some of those things. Maybe they won't all happen with Eco Action where I was, but I want the impact of what God has called me to do to be felt internationally, but not just there in the States, right? In the States first, but also like in Africa and other places where people in need, and my heart is designed to reach, right? Because we can't do everything, but when there's a quickening in my spirit, I want to not only, have a feeling about it. I want to have people in my network and then resources that can have an impact. I know I can't do everything, but when my mind and heart and body is inclined to it, I want to be able to fill some needs and help build some systems and employ some strategies to help people.
I think when you start thinking along those lines of philanthropy and helping other people, doing more beyond just what your personal needs are, I think you've reached, a person has reached a level within themselves that they realize that they were blessed with these gifts and skills and abilities for a purpose, not just to improve their own personal lives, but to be here to make life better for everyone else. So it sounds like, in 5 years, you want to see your life manifest in a way that you've been blessed continually enough to be able to continue on in what you're doing, even on a grander scale, which helps you eventually accomplish that dream of the school for the boys, or what you were talking about before, not wanting to leave here without that vision being realized. Thank you for sharing that. And having that vision of the future, I think is important to understand that our future is tied to more than just our own personal desires, tied to purpose and helping other people. Whether you understand it or not, I think the success of your future is tied to other people, and so building relationships, maintaining relationships, expanding upon your networks, and finding your purpose and making an impact in some way, shape, or form is highly important for each of us, I believe.
And part of it for me
All
is
right,
that
Mr. McClendon,
I've
go
had so
ahead.
many I've had so many
Go
wonderful
ahead.
mentors throughout my life. From when I went to grad school, friends like Richard Doss, who's now a clinical psychologist, to Al White, who when I was in grad school, I got a chance to do videography with him, and we were working with Bob Moses, who was a big leader doing Freedom Summer, meeting him, listening to a lot of what they were saying, to people here like L. Warren Young, who helped me get an agent here initially when I was first looking to act in the Atlanta market, people like Dr. Clyde Chesney, who's no longer with us, people like Kay Addison Young, who's no longer with us, or Barry Scott, voiceover artists and actors, and just people in the community, people who were my supervisors. There's so many people, not to mention my parents, who have poured in, and my brother and my cousin, who poured into my life, that I know that it is because of this wonderful foundation and this group of people that I'm able to live and do what I love and enjoy. So I do know the power of mentorship and relationships. And so what I can do to help others in some kind of way, uh, not only comes out of a desire to collaborate, even though it's part of the other part, is because I know the power of just relationships and having somebody around who has already done it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very, very powerful. If you want to take your dreams to the next level, is tapping into people who have done it, who have the experience, who have walk the path that you're trying to walk, it'll make life easier for you. But if you collaborate with them in the right ways, it'll also, put some shine on your projects, put some shine on your output, which is really dope. All right, Mr. McLendon, thank you for diving deep into the responses to those questions. We're not done yet. We're getting toward the end, but we're not quite done yet. But just like every other guest that visits the ride, can't just let you hop in the ride, then hop up out the ride before we have a little fun with you, revisit your dream style. All right.
All right. All right.
So it's time for another installment of Off Top. Let's get it. All right, Michael, here's how this goes. I call out the name of a person, place, or thing, and you tell us in 30 seconds or less the first thing that comes to mind. Off top. Got it?
I'm with you. I'm going to do my
As
best.
easy as that.
I hear you.
All right. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Off top. Infamous black film director Spike Lee.
Inspiration, Tougaloo College, Do the Right Thing, Breaking Barriers, just showing the epitome of what conflict looks like on film so that it's not just violence or something of that nature. It's thought provoking. It's taking people's minds to the next level. That's who Spike is and what he represents to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I thought you might have something to say about that. That was infamous black film director Spike Lee. All right. Off top. American author and Tougaloo College graduate Ann Moody.
Ooh, and Moody, coming of age in Mississippi. While I was teaching there, Miss Moody came to campus, and she was so generous to come speak to my class. I was able to drive she and her son to Canton, where she was from, and just her being a lodestar for me as a Tougaloo College student, but then meeting her personally and understanding the sacrifice that she and many others made so that we could stand here today and do what we do.
That's dope. Like I said, I thought also that you might know something about Miss Ann Moody being a Tougaloo College graduate, yourself and herself. That was American author and Tougaloo College graduate Ann Moody. All right. Off top, black storytellers.
Ooh, wow. The first person that comes to my mind is Ralph Ellison, Invisible Man. That book, just kind of really took my mind in a lot of different places. The way he wrote it, the depth of it, as a black man looking at how his character was fitting into society. So I think about Ralph Ellison. I think James Baldwin's Bigger Thomas. Man, there's so many storytellers. I think about those people because when I was younger, that's who I was reading. But of course, you got people like Ava DuVernay. I think about people like the brother who did Black Panther and did Creed, all the Creeds, whose name is escaping me at the moment. But I think about the fact now that we
Ryan
have
Coogler.
Ryan Coogler. We have an ocean of storytellers who can swim because people like Spike and like Oscar Michaud, and like the brother, I can think his father, he directed the brother I'm thinking of, he directed the movie with Wesley Snipes and Ice-T, but it's his father who was doing the black exploitation stage. I think about those earlier filmmakers, and for me, I think about Paul Robeson, not as much as someone who was writing the stories, but someone who was just a great actor, a great activist, an attorney, an athlete, and just someone who, throughout my knowledge of him, has been an inspiration because of his diversity and his excellence as an artist. Yeah. I was more
Yes, yes,
second.
yes. Thank you for that Yeah, no, I appreciate that in depth. A lot of names, a lot of storytellers, a lot of passionate documentation of Black history, throughout those names you mentioned. So that was Black storytellers. All right, off top, highly professional and creative film producer and videographer, Jabbar Harper, aka Sleep.
Sleep is my brother. Uh, he's not a professional comedian, but he's got a lot of jokes. He's he's a visual genius, who has the heart to contribute, uh, at whatever level you meet him at. He can make what you are working on go to the next level. You don't have to have $1 million, even though he works with people who have that type of budget. He'll do what he can for you where you are, and you will see yourself as it relates to working with him going to the next level. And that's not just because of the art. That's also because of the heart.
The heart of the man, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like I said, I have yet to meet him personally, but in the interactions we've had on social media and through the stories like yourself and through Just One, I feel like he's a brother that I would immediately be able to relate to. So I'm looking forward to it. We've talked, offline a couple times, but I'm looking forward to actually meeting him face to face one day here soon in
most definitely.
2026.
Yeah.
All right, that was the highly professional and creative film producer and videographer, Jabbar Harper. All right, off top, we got a few more. Off top, influential voice of our people, Professor Angela Davis.
Ooh. I think about power. I think about community. I think about resilience. I think about her voice, her long lasting impact, her not only willingness but ability to continue to push the envelope. There are people who started out with her who aren't here anymore, who aren't speaking the issues, but she continues to be a voice, and she continues to speak without fear. And so, I think when I think about Angela Davis, I think about people like, Malcolm and the Black Panthers in that time in which she lived, but she's still here. You know what I mean? And she's still
Mhm.
speaking and she's still making a difference. And so I think about that level of resilience, and that level of, and what that takes. Cause again, like when we talk about Ann Moody, there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with not only, uh, being in the front the way she is, but also bearing the brunt of the things that confront our community. A lot of people would rather escape that, right? And say, as far as I can get away from black, I'm gonna do it because it seems like it would be an easier
Yeah,
life. But but people like Angela Davis say this is my cloak that God has blessed me to wear. I'm gonna not only wear it with pride, I'm gonna I'm gonna show it out. I'm gonna show up and show out every day with it. And that's what I think about Angela Davis.
yeah. Yes, yes. Very prominent, very impactful, very strong voice for our people. If you don't know who Angela Davis is, Google her. Within 10 minutes, you'll realize the impact that she's had on Black people in America since her existence. I'll just
Yeah,
put it that way.
most definitely.
All right, that was the influential voice of our people, Professor Miss Angela Davis. All right, two more.
All right.
Off top, the historic Tougaloo College.
Oh my goodness, bro. I've written poetry about Tougaloo College.
Late night study sessions in Kinchlow Hall, holding hands and romancing beneath oak trees in fall, watching the frat step and hearing the various sorority calls. Yeah, that's Tougaloo College to me. Being immersed in our history and what it really means to be Black. An oasis of community and culture that makes you want to give back. Professors who would pull you to the side because they cared when you were veering off track. That's Tougaloo College to me?
Tougaloo College is a haven. It was a slave plantation that was this white guy, John Bodie, I think his name was John. He proposed to this lady. She said no. The American Missionary Association bought the land, created a normal school that was Tougaloo, that became Tougaloo College in 1869. And it was there where I just met so many inspiring young people who were my age, but not only were they like making great grades in school, they played classical piano, or they did, they were great visual artists. And then, and so that gave me more confidence. And so when I think about Tougaloo and its contribution to the civil rights movement, when I think about Tougaloo and how it takes young people who may not have the money, but they have the passion, and it puts them in this environment where they have mentors. It encourages them to be critical thinkers and activists. I think of it as holy ground, because that's what it is.
Holy ground. That's a great way to explain that, to describe a place that you feel so, that had basically birthed you, in a way, birthed the spirit of who Michael McLendon is. That's kind of how I feel about my experience at Tennessee State, but I can only imagine with the history of Tougaloo College, and where it's located, the size of the school, the amount of students there. It was such just a very viral, passionate experience that probably exists in your head as real today as it did when you were actually going through it.
It's hard for me to do Tougaloo College in 30 seconds because
I
it's
know.
it's tough. But there's so many people, so many professors, from Elise White, my speech teacher, to Dr. Jerry Washington Ward, who taught honors English there, to some of the biology and chemistry teachers, just the whole community. And then I went back and taught there, and some of my students like Dr. Howard Ramsby, who is now teaching at Penn State, and just Benny Thompson, who was a U.S. Congressman, Derek Johnson, who I mentioned earlier, who is the president of the NAACP. There's so many folk, Nashambi Lambright, who used to be over at ACLU in Mississippi. Just so many people who we were kids, Dr. Tanya Tim, Michelle Wiggins, we were kids together, but to see the wonderful things that they are doing and that we collectively are doing without not necessarily doing it to be recognized, but doing it because one of the places we were kind of intellectually baptized and socially baptized at was Tougaloo College, where they teach us that it's about the community and giving back to the community and doing whatever it takes to be a blessing to the collective, and not just kind of going out and just make a whole lot of money and saying my four are taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that, Tougaloo College, just like most other HBCU experiences, especially the smaller campuses, create such a just amazing synergy that lasts most of your lifetimes. Almost every person that attended school, on that campus, especially during your time, probably have the exact same feeling about Tougaloo as you do, and
Yeah,
about their experience there. So that's the power of a HBCU.
that's
Ain't nothing like it. I
right.
wouldn't trade my HBCU experience for any other experience in the world, but and I know you wouldn't trade yours as well. All right, that was the historic Tougaloo College. All right, last one. Off top, the impact of Georgia's Stacey Abrams.
Wow. Shout out to Stacey Abrams. I think she just one of her parents just passed, and as you may know, her parents went to Tougaloo. But she is a force, has been and will continue to be, to not only analyze and let us know what's happening, not only a political force in that, she was very influential in her run for office, but she has a way of breaking down and analyzing how things happen. You've probably seen this clip where she's on one of the late night shows and she's talking about, how democracies kind of are dismantled by someone who wants to be a dictator in the different stages. and she just kind of lays that out, point by point. So she has the ability to kind of look at a situation, analyze it, and then translate it in a way that we can all understand it, and then move forward in a way that's empowering and beneficial to us all. So I appreciate what she has done, is doing, and will do for our community in particular.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. I'm not a resident of the state of Georgia, but across America, if you're black, and you vote, you should know who Stacey Abrams is, no matter whether you live in the state of Georgia or not, because her voice represents many of us across the country. I appreciate your response to that. I had no idea her parents went to Tougaloo College. So
Come on now.
it just right in line, like, great question. I thought it would be interesting to hear your take with you being in the state of Georgia, living in the state of Georgia, you being involved with the social justice community out there, that you might have a take on it. But I had no idea her parents went to Tougaloo, so that's pretty dope. Thank you very much for that. Was the final final one on off top, the impact of Georgia's Stacey Abrams. Man, I appreciate that. It was a great ride. You did very well. You
I
had some
appreciate it.
solid responses to all of them, and they all seem to be somewhat relevant to your journey. As a student and as a current professional in activism and social justice. So that was great, man. Thank you for joining me on that fun game of off top. All right. Final ride. Last question. If you were to give a TED talk to a room of aspiring film directors, what would you share with them that maybe you had to learn through trial and error?
Wow. What I would share with them, I would talk to them about uh, being quiet enough to hear uh, in different ways. One is, of course, hearing from peers and people who've done it before, uh, but more importantly, for purpose, right? Getting quiet enough to hear what it is you're supposed to be doing, and then having the fortitude to push ahead and do that, because there's always a lot that can be happening. There is value in collaborating in a way where you're working on your peers' projects, because a lot of times who you work with are the people who are along with you the next up, more so than just trying to reach up and get people already in position. But there's also the value in then, as I support others, what am I being called to bring forward? Is it just to support, period? Because that could be it. Or are there stories you're supposed to tell? And in telling those stories, what role are you supposed to play? Are you supposed to write those stories? Are you supposed to be a part of certain types of projects and not a part of certain type of projects? Because we live in a world now where there's the potential to play those roles. So one is, uh, listening, and then having the fortitude to move forward. And then the other one is transitioning when something ultimately isn't working to to another environment, not hanging on too long, right? I believe in working through issues, but also recognizing when this is not a healthy collaboration, because a lot of times, whether that's a job or a person, there's somebody else who's supposed to be sitting in that seat or doing that job. Not only this is a two-way thing. The sooner you move out, the quicker you get to where you're supposed to be or who you were supposed to be with, but also the person who can sit in that seat, whether that's like a romantic or professional relationship, the sooner somebody else, the right person can be in that seat for that person, right? Or in that job, because they're supposed to be doing a job. The sooner I move out of that, the closer I am to being where I'm supposed to be. And so it's again, it's not a singular thing. It's a collective thing, because we have to at times move out of other people's way so that we can get in our own path. And then collectively, maybe we meet up again, but we're in the right positions now. So it actually works synergistically.
Wow. Thank you for that in-depth response. Basically, you need to listen and have the fortitude to move forward. Listen, have the fortitude to move forward. Listen to yourself. Listen to your environment. Listen to, if you're a spiritual person, listen to the spirit within, the Holy Spirit, whatever you define as your level of alignment. Listen, follow that vision, pursue it, develop the passion around it, and then have the fortitude to, put an anchor in the ground and say, I'm gonna start right here. I believe this is part of my purpose, and move forward, and just keep moving forward. That's a great word, Brother Michael McLendon. I appreciate that word. Audience, I hope that you appreciate that word as well. This has been a great interview. This has been a great episode. The answers to your questions, your vulnerability, your transparency, and then the vision and the foresight that you have about helping people, see the project, to see the end result beyond their own singular input or their own singular output, to see it as a group, to see it as something that benefits many, from the inside and out. I think that's what's going to, that vision that you have about this building the school or what have you for the young Black boy, that's going to come to pass, because you're going to end up having the funds and the resources to be able to do it, because of how you live your life, and you're putting other people before your own singular interest. I think that's how the world turns, man. I respect that a lot. And right now, we're going to wrap the show up. Michael McLendon, I'm going to give you the opportunity to share with our audience anything that you'd like to share. If you'd like to promote a product, promote a service, share with people where they can find you, anything you'd like to say to encourage or inspire our audience, I'm opening up the floor, and the platform is yours.
Okay, so first I want to say that they can find me on Instagram at Michael Diallo MC, Facebook Michael Diallo Diallo McLendon. I want to give your alma mater a shout out, because Tennessee State University took care of me for the time that I was in Nashville, from working in the ag school to working in public relations, working under Dr. David Hefner, to Dr. Gloria, the last president. I can't think of her last name right now. But
Glover.
Glover, yes,
Dr. Glover.
Dr. Glover. She was very instrumental. I got a chance to work with her and set up video for her when she was doing certain presentations. And the people I met there, from Barry Scott, esteemed now the late Barry Scott, voiceover artist who directed me in many plays. Dr. Lawrence James, my favorite director while I was there. Just so many people, and so many people who have been birthed from Tennessee State University. I got a lot of love for your alma mater, bro. I have an uncle who got his master's there. But just the big blue, the land of gold and sunshine, is in my blood too. And, I just love Tennessee State University. My mentor there now, who I still keep in contact with, she was the dean of students many years ago. She started the Dr. Levi Watkins Jr. program that's helping guide young Black intellectuals through Tennessee State, and already hooking them up with a med school. This is me getting low, and I'm trying to, the name is escaping me as we talk. But people like her, who started that organization for young, Black intellectuals to then become medical doctors. Tennessee State is full of those people like Jesse Russell in the past, or professional football players, or actors, or engineers. They all over Tennessee State's history. I just wanted to start out by saying that I love Tennessee State.
Yeah.
but I just want to finish
Shout out to the Big Blue.
the Big Blue. You know what I'm saying? But I do
Yeah.
want to show a short spoken word piece, because
Please do.
it's what I pray over my brothers and sisters and over the world. To all my brothers locked behind bars, doing time for fighting tribal wars, Look past the mud and see the stars. God has not forgotten your wounds or your scars. And to all my sisters who just can't cope because daddy never did and brothers on dope. Look, I know we're walking a slippery slope, but hold on, sister. Don't lose hope. And to all the mothers who lost their sons to shiftless thugs with smoking guns, lift up your head with the rising sun and hold on, mama, for the righteous ones. And to all the daddies who never left town, black, white, red, yellow, and brown, who refused to clown and refused to frown. Thanks for sticking around and holding it down. And to all the babies abandoned at birth, who wake to find that home is this cold and bitter earth. Hold on, precious. God's got a solution. Hold on tight. This is a love revolution. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the opportunity to be on the show. This has been amazing. And I look forward to meeting you in person and sitting down and getting a little grub together and collaborating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was amazing. Thank you very much for ending the show that way. Wow. What a treat to have a guest actually express their actual art on the show and end it with a spoken word piece that was so impactful. That's one I want to rewind and listen to 2 or 3, 4 times, because I mean, you spoke to every level, every level of humanity, from the babies to to older people, every nationality and culture, the dads and mothers to brothers and sisters. Like, I think that's so powerful, so amazing, and a timely message for what our people need right now. And likewise, I look forward to meeting you personally. I look forward to sitting down with you, having a meal with you, and collaborating, man, and just laughing, telling some jokes, and building upon what we've established so far up to this point. Michael, I really appreciate you, man. I respect what you do a heck of a lot, man. And I look forward to, to that first time that we do actually get to meet face to face. For those of you watching, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that you got something out of it. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone you know who might benefit from it. We are excited about what we have going in season 4, and I hope that you keep tapping in with us. We are nearing 200 subscribers. Our goal is to get to about 250 before the end of season 4. We're not so concerned with numbers. I'm not stuck up on numbers at all. I am concerned with each individual viewer and each individual subscriber, because I want your lives individually to change. But we do need the numbers to increase in order to reach more people, because the real goal is to impact as many people and inspire as many people as possible. So please like, please subscribe, please share. Lastly, if you or someone you know is still on a pursuit of their dreams, you should encourage them to keep going and keep growing, because you never know when that dream might be the dream to change all of our lives and make the world a better place. I want to remind you, our shows air each Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for everybody out there on the West Coast. And again, want to thank you for watching this episode of Revisit Your Dreams, and we see you again real soon. One love. We out.